Hey, thanks for showing up today. We got a little bit of a challenge here with a model that you may recognize, an old A5 Browning. It's got a pretty unique problem, and I will probably have to inset some pictures to show you what's going on, but we're going to try to get this thing running again. If that interests you, stick around. That's what we're going to do in this video. So let's get started here. What has happened here, and I'm going to try to get this as close as possible so maybe you can see, there's a black plug for a shotgun sticking out of the magazine tube that is trapped in the action and will not let the action close. Evidently, and y'all be kind in the comments, if it weren't for things like this, you know, it'd be a little harder for me to turn a buck. So evidently this gun was loaned out and the person decided that they needed a plug, and they loaded the plug in on top of the follower and then put 2 shells in. I don't know how it worked, but evidently it did work at least at least for 2 shots. And then they took it back to the owner and said, there's a problem here. This plug is poking out into the action. So I will inset some pictures so that maybe you'll get a better idea of what's happening here. I realize the lighting and that camera that's on the tripod probably didn't get a real good picture. Oh, excuse me. But I will use a flash and see if I can get down in the gun, and I will inset these pictures right here. First thing we're going to do, we're going to get the spring pressure off the back of the plug that's still got, I'm going to guess, judging from the overall length, probably an inch or so of plug still in the magazine. So I'm going to do my best to get that out of here without tearing anything up. It's doing about as good as anything I can do, and if I'm able to get it out like this, I don't have to worry about bending the end of the magazine tube and having to doctor that up. Okay, we are making progress, and I'm guessing it's just pressure that holds this in there like it is on the Remington guns. Yeah, it's coming. Put me some spectacles on so if this thing flies out of here, it won't blind me. Okay, here it comes. This is always a touchy prospect here, but it is working. There we go. And I managed to capture, I managed to not pull my eye out. That's a good thing. All right, so we've taken the pressure off this. You don't suppose we'd be so lucky as this thing to just fall out with the follower. No. There's the follower. Oh, nice and clean. And I'm looking at the screws on this Browning on the receiver. Look at there. All that wonderful stuff right there. It doesn't appear as if the screws have ever been touched on this Browning. And guess what? I'm not going to be the one that does it. If we get this plug out, we'll clean what we can clean from right here. And I am not taking a chance on boogering up some screw heads. See if I can. Bingo. We got it out. That's good. All right, so the rest from here on out is just going to be a regular cleaning and a reassembly. There's probably, you know, 1,000 other videos on here of how to clean a Browning A5, and you can go watch those if you need to. I also want to inset some pictures that I took over the weekend. Let me get these glasses off. Some pictures that I took over last weekend of a gun that was brought to me. It was a Glock Model 17 Gen 3 that had a Tactical Solutions 22 conversion kit on top of it, and very, very sluggish in the slide, and it required a lot of pressure to cock the gun and to pre-stage the striker. And whenever I would press the trigger on the Glock frame, the Tactical Solution slide would actually back up a little bit before the striker would drop. So I was in a hurry to see what was causing that problem, because I just couldn't imagine what. And you're not going to believe what I found on that. I'm going to inset the pictures right here, and then we'll come back and talk about that too. And I'll show you this Browning A5 all reassembled and ready to roll. Okay? Be back in a second. All right, we're back with the A5. We got our back together, got her good and clean. Listen to that ring. Beautiful, beautiful old gun. Vent rib barrel. Not shot a lot at all. It really, I would say 92%. Except for a little wear on the receiver, bluing wear, and a little bit of surface rust, which I I worked real hard to just get off with some solvent and a light oiling. This thing looks really, really good. It ought to run good now. And I did put the plug back in correctly and set it up for, they already had the friction ring set up for light loads, and I figure since they need the buffer tube, and it's a 2 3/4 inch guns, not the buffer tube but the plug, and it's only a 2 3/4 inch gun, so I figure they're probably doing dove hunting. So I went ahead and left it set up for light and let the owner know. And yeah, so that one's ready to go. So what do you think about the pictures of the Glock? I found when I first tried it and realized how hard everything was to pull the slide back and to pull the trigger, I got right home. I didn't bother setting up a camera or anything. I just tore it down. And when I first saw that stuff in there, I thought it was maybe like some red grease that had maybe sat in there so long it got tacky or something. But it felt so sticky that I just couldn't resist putting the slide to my nose, and I smelled wild cherry. And I think the story behind it was when the owner came back to pick it up, he said I would be willing to bet that if it was cherry flavored, it was a red Starburst jelly bean. now how he knew that's what it was, I'm guessing he had some of those around Easter, carrying them in whatever bag or pack he was carrying that pistol in. But I cleaned it out, oiled it all up. Even the firing pin channel was packed. In this picture that I'll insert here, you can see the little rectangular shaped one. It was tucked down in the striker channel of the Glock 17, and so I thought that was pretty funny. And like I say, y'all be easy in the comments on these people. You know, everybody is not like a full-time gun guy like me, and maybe a lot of you watching. And sometimes, rather than diagnose the problem, and mess anything up, they'd rather bring it to somebody who knows, and that's okay. Guns are a thing. If you suspect that something's not right, and you don't know the ins and outs of a particular gun or a particular model, you really shouldn't mess with it. You should bring it to somebody who you know, like, is a full-time gun guy, and let them check it out. I'd much rather that than like the last video I had. You remember where somebody brought the revolver with all the with all the internal pieces in here? I would much rather just see it with the problem that it's having, rather than somebody try to get in there and diagnose it themselves. Heaven forbid, use a Dremel tool or something. So go easy on them in the comments. I can't tell you how many it's that guns have been brought to me in a box with all the pieces in the box. And like I say, I'd rather get them up front, so because when I take them apart, I can remember how they work. If somebody else takes them apart, I've got most of the time I just figure it all out in my head. Hopefully it's a model I have some experience with, like that old Colt revolver, but I would much rather take it apart myself and then fix the problem or find the problem and then put it back together than having it brought to me already disassembled. So, oh my goodness, I must not have got enough sleep last night or something. I don't know. I've been yawning all day. I've got another one that I'm going to work on. I will, just depending on how many minutes I get out of this, I may just tack it on the end of this. It should be a pretty simple deal. And I had already cleaned it and sent it out, and the guy's having some problems with a sticky chamber, and it was a shotgun as well. And you know, all these modern rounds have they don't have brass case heads, they have steel case heads that many times, at least with your more premium loads, are brass plated, so it looks like they're brass, but if you stick a magnet to them, they will all, you know, brass obturates to block off the backwards gas flow, but then it springs back a little bit, and it's very easy to extract a brass case. Steel doesn't do that. You gun guys know that steel, when it obturates to seal off the back gases in the chamber, it doesn't spring back. That's why, you know, a lot of the steel case rounds you use will be varnished, or they will be they'll receive some kind of dry lube powder coating to help the cases extract better. These old shotguns, the extractors and the whole setups, they were made for brass, and now we go to steel, and your chamber's got to be clean. Your extractor has to have a good sharp catching edge, and so we're going to look at that one. That'll probably be in the next video, but I appreciate y'all stopping in. If you have any questions about anything you've seen or any comments, you don't feel free to put them down there. I try to read them all. It's not like, you know, I don't have 1 million followers or something, so I might not see them the first day you put them on, or the second day, or even the first week, but generally I'll log in and see your comments within a couple of weeks anyway, and I try to reply or give you a thumbs up or something. So but be kind to the people that bring their guns to me. Now that I'm retired as a registered nurse, this is kind of my, you know, just a side gig for just a little bit of money, extra money to keep me in ammo and things like that. So I'm glad people bring these things to me, and so don't be hard on them, you know. Just consider that there but for the grace of God go I, you know, that old saying, and just be kind to each other. And I'll be seeing you here again real soon. Appreciate you dropping in. Bye-bye.